Parents of tweens, if you're familiar with far-off drop-offs...
Dad, stop, right here.
Or get DMs about what's for dinner, you may be experiencing tween milestones. For your son or daughter, these can start at age 9. HPV vaccination, a type of cancer prevention against certain HPV-related cancers, can start then too.
For most, HPV clears on its own. But for those who don't clear the virus, it can cause certain cancers later in life.
Embrace this phase. Help protect them in the next.
Ask their doctor today about HPV vaccination. Brought to you by Merck.
Attention Ditto Heads. Attention Bo Scouts.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
It's time for the Soul of Excellence.
He is a radio host here in New York.
The Rush Hour is on the air.
Rush.
Now here's James Golden.
Welcome, my friends, to the It's Already Friday Again edition of Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour, the fastest hour in American media. And indeed, my friends, the news just keeps flowing. Right before the show began, got a news headline flashed across my many electronic devices that a federal judge has weighed in yet again on the side of liberal advocacy in the case of Donald Trump's proper pursuit of finding out who is attending Harvard University and making sure that the people that attend that university are vetted, given what has happened on college campuses across this country. But a federal judge just weighed in favor of Harvard University. The judge blocked the Trump administration's effort to keep Harvard University from hosting international students. It's the same judge that has acted in Harvard's behalf. This must be their pet judge. Allison Burroughs, U.S. District Court judge, one of the judges on the district court who thinks they were elected rather than the president of the United States. An order from the U.S. District Judge Allison Burroughs preserves the ability of Harvard to host foreign students while the case is being decided. Please appeal it. Harvard has sued the Department of Homeland Security after they withdrew the school's certification to host foreign students and issue paperwork for their visas, as is their right. The Homeland Security Department has the right, and the State Department, to say who comes in the country, not some district court judge who wants to make sure that beautiful liberal Harvard University gets everything that they want. So I hope that this case will be appealed very quickly. A federal judge, anytime you see a sentence, a headline that starts a federal judge or federal judge, most of the time now that's a warning shot across the bow of attention. Be prepared for some left-wing ideological nonsense to spew forth. In this instance, a federal judge in New Jersey has ordered Colombian graduate Mahmoud Khalil to be released on bail. Judge Michael Farbiraz, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, indicated his ruling from the bench at a virtual hearing, said he'd soon put it in writing. Not immediately clear when Mohammed Khalil will be released on bail. Meanwhile, in other legal matters, a federal appeals court yesterday cleared the way for President Trump to keep using the National Guard to respond to immigration protests in Los Angeles, declaring that a judge in San Francisco had erred when he ordered Donald Trump to return the control of the troops to Governor Do-Nothing Gavin Newsom. the lower court judge had concluded the protests weren't severe enough. So now he's going to put himself in the president's shoes. Oh, you know what? That wasn't severe enough for the president to act. He better knows than the president. He has this judge is deciding what should be Donald Trump's decision-making process. But that court, the appeals court said, nope. Nope. The ruling also raised a potential hurdle, though, for the next step. The federal district court judge, Charles Breyer, set to hear arguments today over a state request that would restrict what Donald Trump can do with the 4,000 National Guard troops or the 700 active duty Marines that have been deployed. So this legal wrangling goes back and forth. CNN's legal analyst Ellie Honig weighed in on this decision. That's cut one, Kev. And let's just take a listen to the analysis that CNN surprisingly allowed on its air from their legal analyst, Ellie Honig.
Our legal analyst, Ellie Honig. Ellie, how big of a win is this for President Trump?
Well, it's huge, Pam, because it goes to presidential powers and the extent of them. So the core ruling here from the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is, yes, the federal courts do have some role in reviewing the president's decision to deploy the National Guard. However, the courts can't just second-guess the president and overturn him if they disagree. The Court of Appeals says all of us here in the federal judiciary, we have to give very broad deference to the president. So unless his decision is patently absurd or based on bad faith, then we have to step back and let the president exercise this power. So it's a big win for President Trump. As we know, he has sought at all turns to expand his executive authority, and this is a win for him.
And there is a hearing today on the matter. What can we expect there?
So today they're going back into the district court, which is the federal trial court, to argue over the scope of exactly what the National Guard and other military forces can and cannot do. Now, it's an ironclad principle of our legal system that the military cannot perform police law enforcement functions. They can't do arrests, they can't do interrogations, searches, and seizures. Now, clearly, the National Guard can protect federal buildings. Both sides seem to agree on that. The question is, how about that in between? How about if federal law enforcement agents from ICE or the FBI is out making an arrest? Can the National Guard then go with them and not do the arrest themselves, but form a protective perimeter around the arrest as it's happening? So today they're going to get into the details of what the National Guard and perhaps other military forces can and cannot do on the streets.
Well, if you were to listen to L.A. Mayor Karen Bass, it's just she's still demanding that there be no activity from the National Guard or the Marines. And she says, well, things are quiet now. Why are things quiet now? Because the National Guard and the Marines were sent in. The deportations are still happening. There are still people fighting, literally fighting ICE. They are trying to still dox ICE. Some people showed up at a hotel where they believed ICE was staying, and they just made noise outside the hotel all night long to try to keep whoever is in the hotel from sleeping. The leftists are still losing their minds. Karen Bass, let's cut three, Kev. Karen Bass now has resorted to you're separating people from their families argument. This woman she's a Karen. Check it out.
Can I tell you something, though, that we need to think about? We need to think about the National Guard that is federalized. We need to think about the Marines. You know, those are young women and men who are on this deployment, brought away from their homes, their families, their education. And to me, it's like using them as props. Take them away from their school, take them away from their employment to do this deployment that is not needed is not only cruel, but it's impacting their families too. I think on Father's Day, the children that were waiting for their fathers to come home, that they have missing fathers because they were detained, the people who were here legally that showed up for their immigration appointment that's required every year, and they get detained, this chaos needs to stop, and it can only stop out of the White House.
You're taking them away from their schools. The National Guard, the members of the National Guard should be in school. You're separating. Huh? Yes, that's right. That's what she's. You're separating the National Guard from their families, and they. Excuse me. When people sign up for the Marines or sign up for the National Guard, very often they know what they're getting into. They know that they might be deployed. And that's the way that works. You separate it. They were missed on Father's Day. They're Marines. She does. Anyway. So then you have you know who's joined the why are they wearing masks questioning? The New York Times, by the way, endorsed him, I think, unless I read that wrong. Andrew Cuomo is now standing up. These Democrats are such drama people. I got Cory Booker. Cory Booker ought to just resign from the Senate and just take an acting job. Or teach a drama course. Because it's nothing but drama from Spartacus. But anyway, Andrew Cuomo and Jerry Nads. Cuomo and Jerry Nads are now the latest with this one, 6 and 7. You can go back to back on these, Kev. It's Cuomo and the Nads.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. President. Why do the federal ICE agents wear masks covering their face? If they're not ashamed of what they're doing and they're not doing anything illegal, why are they wearing masks covering their identity? Don't the American people have a right to see who they are? Are they a new form of secret police? Tell the ICE agents take off their masks, Mr. President. The American people have a right to know who they are.
But these people are wearing masks and are totally unidentified. And the question is why? It's completely improper. And again, one has to assume they're hiding something, or they're hiding misbehavior, because otherwise, why would they be wearing masks and denying their identities?
Why would they have masks on and be hiding their? We all know the answer to this. It's been explained 100 times. Because you people on the left are doxing them. And you're trying to... What are both Cuomo and Nad saying here? What we'd like to do is have these agents unmasked so our constituents, the crazed, lunatic left, can either attack them and kill them if they think it worked. What do they want? What do they want to happen to these agents? They want their families harassed. They want these agents threatened. You see the way these leftists are behaving, including Antifa, who they refuse to subdue. You see the way they're behaving already. These people are throwing explosives at federal buildings. And yet you have Cuomo and Nads out here saying, well, just show us who you are so our folks can go out and hurt them. And has anybody forgotten that these two Democrats among the entire Democrat Party are the same people that insisted, that mandated that you wear masks during COVID, even though there was no scientific basis that proved that it would do anything, and threatened people's jobs, threatened people's livelihoods. And this is the same Cuomo who threw elderly people in nursing homes with no justification whatsoever, where they died of COVID and has yet to be accountable for any of it. James Golden, Snerdley, fastest hour in American media continues. Don't go away.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Snerdley.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
Ah, yes, baby. It's Friday night. You know what that means in some places. If you're hanging out, it could be your night. 2006, Claydez passed away. Claydez Charles Smith, who was the co-founder, lead guitarist for Kool and the Gang, passed away. He was only 57 years old. Kool and the Gang, I mean, New Jersey, yes. People talk about New Jersey musicians. They always talk about that Springsteen person. But Kool and the Gang, New Jersey, rock. And, you know, they are so known for their hits, like their pop hits. A lot of people don't even know unless you really follow the group, that they do some great jazz, too. They had, like, the Wild and Peaceful album. They had the extended cut, Wild and Peaceful. They have had some really amazing music come out of this group. So proud of Kool and the Gang. All right, let me just hit you. Thank you, Princess Diana. We talked about Harvard, judge trying to get Harvard out. Princess Diana sent me, just posted at 3:42 from President Trump. Many people have been asking what's going on with Harvard University and their large-scale improprieties that we've been addressing, looking for a solution. President Trump goes on to say, we've been working closely with Harvard, and it's very possible that a deal will be announced over the next week or so. They have acted extremely appropriately during these negotiations. They appear to be committed to doing what is right. If a settlement is made on the basis that is currently being discussed, it will be mind-bogglingly historic, in caps, and very good for our country. Thank you for your attention to this matter. And so, there may be a deal in the works between the administration and Harvard University. That would be pretty amazing. Eh? James Golden, Snerdley, fastest hour in American media continues. Whatever you do, keep it right here and do not go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
James Golden, known popularly as Bo Snerdley.
This is The Rush Hour with James Golden.
Rush.
1942, on this day, Brian Wilson, American singer-songwriter, made famous, of course, his work with the Beach Boys, was born. This one went to number one in 1966. The Beach Boys would have over 25 top 40 singles. Their 66 album, this one was on it, Pet Sounds, is widely considered to be one of the most influential albums of all time ever in music history. 9 days ago, just 9 days ago, Brian Wilson left us. And, you know, the day that he left us, I got in my text within a few minutes. We were on the air, I think, or shortly after it happened, we were on the air. And Lady Benedict sent me something that was on Instagram. We meant to play it that Saturday and, of course, blew right past it. So today we're going to play it. I immediately texted it to our program director, Kevin. Said, Kev, can we play this? He said, yeah, absolutely, you can play it. And ladies and gentlemen, it is so beautiful. It is the performer Sting who was in concert that night. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, isn't that beautiful? That's Sting. Thanks, Kevin. That's so special. Man, and so happy heavenly birthday today for Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. There's an article in the Washington Post today. Oh, wait a minute. Before we get into it, it's all about how Democrats are getting handcuffed, and this is part of the resistance, and their people are happy because they're putting up big resistance. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, by the way, some poll numbers out here that Democrats are touting that Trump's numbers are down on this whole, since these ICE things. I don't know how true it is or not. It doesn't matter because Donald Trump is doing the right thing here, and sooner or later it will be rewarded. Whether it is now these Democrats that are out here with their war against law enforcement, let them keep it up. If that's what they think will bring them political fortune, let them. And I have no objection to Democrats being handcuffed whatsoever. So if you guys think that that's the way to go, by all means, get in line and get handcuffed for interfering with federal law enforcement. Now, James Carville, who we have played, Serpent Head, which of course Rush used to call him affectionately Serpent Head. We have heard many rants from Serpent Head on this program. This one may take the cake. I listened to this and my first thought was, Mary, Mary, come get him, please. Before he says something else, get him, Mary. So, James Carville, Serpent Head, I think it was on the Al Hunt podcast that he does. Cut 14 and his James.
A smart observer took some pictures of his hand. We're posting it so you can see the discoloration, and you're further going to see something interesting. You're going to see a attempt at makeup to try to hide this. Now, if you're suffering and have a medical diagnosis, but if this is a condition that you have, you can cover up skin discoloration with makeup. And you're not being served by a commentariat that basically has one thumb up its ass and one thumb in its mouth and is twitching every fucking 30 seconds. Go do your job. Find out what's going on with his hand. Find out what's going on with his capacity. Have people look at his slurred language. Have people look at the deterioration that's going on right now and the madness and the corruption and all of the other that's going on. Whoa, rah, rah, Johnny come marching home together. We're going to bomb this, bunker bomber, atomic bombs, blow, bomb. And then listen to what the idiots say on TV. Well, what about the Democrats? They only got a disapproval rating and the hope and we're in a state of collapse and this and that, and let's have a panel discussion and we're going to have a regression analysis and we're going to do all that. And the are you talking about? And don't worry about having a panel discussion about the Democrats. What are they going to do? Look at what's right in front of you. What's right in front of you. And I think there is sufficient reason to marshal resources and together to see what the hell's going on here, which may be even caused by underlying, what do you call it, syphilitic? I don't know what the medical word for it is. In other words, he may have the clot. And I think this is, because, and we had the No Kings, which is the latest thing. And, maybe we should have no syphilis rallies.
The man has, James Carville has, my friends, it may have happened. He truly may have jumped off the cliff. Talking about other people's hands. James Carville on. Okay.
No, I said he lost his mind talking about other people losing their mind.
He lost his mind talking about other people losing their mind. Okay. Okay, speaking about losing their minds, now let's get to Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, in Chicago, the city council, after long debate, passed a measure. Don't worry, it won't become law because of Chicago, because you'll hear why it won't become law. But they have had these episodes, and you have seen these, where using social media, they have, I don't even know what you call them, these street takeovers where you get hundreds and hundreds, sometimes even more than that, people in the street. Sometimes they do mass looting, mass robbery. Sometimes they're just out having misbehavior night. But it's hundreds and hundreds of people. So business owners, I guess, got tired of having their businesses looted, rambled, shacked, and everything else. And they said, okay, we want to give the police department supervisors with checks and balances the ability to call a instant curfew so that they could shut these things down. Now, that curfew, as you will hear, well, let's just listen to the report because it went up for a city council vote. And so, cut 10, here's the NBC Nightly News in Chicago, cut 10, talking about this measure.
So we have some breaking news from Chicago City Council here. Aldermen just voted on whether to allow police to decide to impose a new curfew for teens downtown. Charlie Wojcicki is live with their decision. Charlie, I've been teeing this up for a couple of months. What they decide?
They finally got a chance to vote late this afternoon, Alex, and they voted to accept the ordinance. It was by a very narrow margin, by 27 votes to 22 votes. That means it is not veto-proof. This is the ordinance that had been talked about, as you said, for a long time, one that would give the superintendent power to call a temporary curfew. We call them snap curfews. The alderman wants us to use the word temporary curfew. There was a lot of debate on both sides.
This ordinance will increase punitive action and create more conflict instead of working towards a resolution that will benefit everyone.
I'm here today because this curfew ordinance isn't just bad policy, though it is. It's also unconstitutional. Flagrantly so, really.
The ordinance is designed to prevent scenes like these. The officers will be allowed to call for a curfew with the permission of the superintendent and the deputy mayor for public safety. The teens would not be arrested. Rather, they'd be detained and then turned back over to their parents.
I am aware of 2 potential teen trends that didn't happen. They didn't happen because of intervention measures taken by the Deputy Mayor of Public Safety and his outstanding leadership team of street interventionists.
If you're going to vote for this, then vote in support of it. If you're going to vote against it, then vote against it. But in closing, Mayor, I am sick and tired of people talking about public safety in this room, and then when it comes time for a difficult vote, sneaking out the back door.
That difficult vote was taken today. It did pass by a very narrow margin. In order to be veto-proof, it would require 34 votes. It only got the 27 votes, and the mayor has been very clear. He thinks that this ordinance is unconstitutional. He has not said whether or not he will veto the bill, but after the city council session wraps up this afternoon, we expect to hear from him and hear what he plans to do now that the ordinance has been passed. If it goes through all the way, 10 days before it takes effect. Reporting live from outside the City Council chamber, Charlie Wojcicki, NBC 5 News. Kate, back to you.
All right. We appreciate all of that new information, Charlie. We'll see you again at 6 o'clock.
Well, okay, we can stop there because we heard from the mayor and we know what he wants to do based on this. And there should have been no question what the mayor wants to do. What is everything with this mayor about? Answer at home. Every single thing in Chicago, damn near. What is it about? It's about one thing and one thing only. And if you guessed race, then you pretty much guessed right. Here is Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago.
Every freaking day, I'm raising children in this city. I know what it's like to feel unsafe and to be targeted. We have to stop as a city falling to some of the most ridiculous remedial forms of governance. It has not worked. And now we're doing stuff that works, and then they want to come up with another idea that has not worked. What sense does that make? I'm saying ask deeper, more profound questions about why young people are gathering in spaces in the first place. That's why I was up to freaking midnight on Saturday night, out, hanging out with some of the young people at the late night basketball, showing up for these young brothers. They all could be my son. They can all be my nephews.
Yeah, well, as long as your name's Obama, not Obama, I guess you could have a story. You remember, Michelle, there was another story today about how cruel her remarks were. She was overseas when she said that she didn't want to have a son because that kid could turn out to be like Obama. We played that yesterday. So anyway, it all boils down to the same thing. These kids were terrorizing Chicago. And no, you can't have the police actually try to shut it, not even arrest it, not shut it down because it doesn't work, according to the mayor of Chicago. It doesn't work. So let's just let these mass, whatever it is that happens when you have these social media inspired street takeovers happen, because they could be his son. And goodness knows we wouldn't want anybody to tell his son or people that could be his son or nephew, hey, it's time to go home. We're not arresting you. We're just going to hold you, make sure we can get you to your parents instead of you being out here vandalizing and doing whatever else you're doing or presenting a public nuisance. We can't have that. No, no, no. It's racist. Everything is. Okay. Now, I'm looking to see what we got left. We got plenty of stuff left, ladies and gentlemen. Jasmine Crockett. Targeted by who? That's a great question. The Countess of Conspiracy. As who's targeting? You see, this is a brilliant question, Countess. Who is targeting his children in Chicago? It must be, but he's the mayor. He runs the government. So who would be targeting his kids? Now, before we go, and we got to go really quickly, we got to just hear Caroline Levitt, press secretary, response to Jasmine Crockett. If you're unaware of this, Jasmine Crockett said that all Trump supporters pretty much, or the MAGA people, you're all mentally ill. Caroline Levitt was asked about that. Here was her response.
Really quick on Jasmine Crockett. She said, I believe that Trump supporters are mentally ill before calling for bipartisan support against the president. Can you respond to that, especially considering she's a rising star in the Democrat Party right now?
She is a rising star. It's quite something to behold, actually. I hope that she continues to be a rising star for the Republican Party, at least. I think it's incredibly derogatory to accuse nearly 80 million Americans of mental illness. The last time I checked, Jasmine Crockett couldn't dream of winning such a majority of the public as President Trump did. And the America First movement, which President Trump has built, is filled of hardworking patriots, the forgotten men and women, business owners, law enforcement officers, nurses and teachers, and middle America, as we all know, from where you all grew up, outside of this beltway. That's who makes up this president's movement. And Jasmine Crockett should go to a Trump rally sometime, and she can see it for herself.
Yes, my friends. Lawrence Payton of the Four Tops passed away, age 59, on this day in 1997. One of the staples of the Motown era. The Four Tops, of course. James Golden, Snerdley, coming back. Fastest hour in American media continues. Don't go away.
Rush. This is the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Bo Snerdley.
It's the Rush Hour with James Golden.
Goes by the pseudonym Bo Snerdley.
Rush.
Now, here's James Golden.
Why would I care how people come into our country, whether it be with proper documentation or not? How does that affect my life in any way, shape, or form? And I know you're not going to say crime, I know you're not going to say the economy or taxes, and I know you're not going to say benefits. How does it affect your life? Really? I would like to know.
I honestly say it's not a question of no kings. It is a question of no capitalist system at all. No state, no cops who constantly turn these forms of oppression against us. Down with the whole system. Up with the socialist revolution. Power to the working class people.
Yeah, that's American left today. How does illegal immigration affect me? Obviously, this is a person who doesn't pay taxes or doesn't pay attention or doesn't understand policy at all. How does it affect the country when you have laws that are broken by millions of people and no response from elected officials? What does that do to the pillar of law as an underpinning of society. Does it have any effect at all? What does it do to an economy? Right now, I have so many reports, I can't play them all because of time, of what is happening in LA right now. People going down popular streets in LA. Oh, nobody's out. There was a woman who posted a video, and this one I couldn't play because you can't see it, as she's talking about. She scans an immense hospital room, an immense hospital emergency room. And folks, there is not a single, not one person in this entire vast room. Why not? Because they're all afraid, apparently. And what we're supposed to do, take away from that, is be ashamed and be saddened that people are not going in for emergency medical care instead of questioning. Why how have we been paying for all of this for people who are here illegally and should have never been here in the first place? But what you get from the left is we're all supposed to be embarrassed because the law is actually being followed, or there's an attempt being made to enforce law. We got to go. May God bless, my friends, each and every single one of you, your families, your loved ones. Love and gratitude for your being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, back in the morning with everybody. Princess Di, America's small caffeinated mom, Lizzie, all of us, and you, bright and early at 7 a.m. Until then, my friends, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder,
what the heck is going on here?
This shrimp and coconut sauce is divine. What's your secret?
Goya coconut milk.
How does it taste so good?
It's all in that real coconut flavor and that rich, creamy texture.
What about thickeners and added sugars?
None. Just smooth, coconutty goodness.
What can I make with it?
From curries to sweet treats like coconut flan, the possibilities are endless.
Goya coconut milk. Take your cooking to the next level. No question about it. Find it in the Goya section of your local grocery store. If it's Goya, it has to be good.
Roger Stone here for Colonial Metals Group. Pay attention, because China is leading the largest anti-American alliance since World War II. One that's already dumped U.S. bonds, grabbed 43 million acres of our farmland, and is plotting to dethrone the dollar. That's why IRA and 401k savers are protecting their savings with gold. Go to freegoldguide.com/stone or call 800-747-6589 for your free gold guide on how to protect your wealth with gold, and it's 100% tax-free.